welcome back to my channel. This video has been long awaited. I started an AirSculpt series and you guys have been dying for part 2. Now, this isn't going to be a before and after video. This is going to be a question and answer video. I won't be seeing the full results of AirSculpt until about 3 to 6 months post-op. So I have seen a significant difference. However, it's not the final result. So that video is going to be a little bit further down the line, but I still wanted to continue to pour into this series, and I think that allowing you guys a platform to ask questions was the perfect way to continue on. So I have my handy dandy phone and I opened up my Ask Box on Instagram and I asked you guys to ask me questions about what you want to know about my procedure. So we're opening up the Ask Box and we're just gonna dive right into it and go through some of the questions, and hopefully I'll be able to screenshot some of these and have them come up on the screen, or if not, at least my thumbnail will have some of them. But we're just gonna dive right into it and waste no time. If you guys want to know what I'm wearing, I will link my bodysuit down below. I do have my faja on, but it is not on screen. I have my faja and my foams on. If you didn't know, when you have surgery, you should be wearing your faja 24 hours a day for the first, I believe, first 3 months. And then after that, you can bring it to 12 hours a day. One of the things that I was not told and that I found out through my lymphatic drainage massage therapist, she definitely holds way more titles than that, but Zenny, she's been a saint, and she's actually educated me a lot more than I believe the doctors and nurses did. So I mean, no shade, it's just the truth. Zenny has given me so much information about the process and about healing and about things and steps that I needed to take. So I'm gonna leave her Instagram down below if you're interested in taking a look at her. She's based out of Waterbury, Connecticut, and I love her. So that is my little shout out to Zenny. Love you, girl, and thank you for educating me. So appreciated. Okay, so now we're just going to dive into the questions. So the first question I was asked is it as painful, in your opinion, as a tummy tuck? Now, I'm not sure I can have much opinion in that space because I've never had a tummy tuck, so I don't know the pain that comes with it, but I can only imagine that a tummy tuck is way more painful than AirSculpt, because with a tummy tuck, they're literally cutting your stomach, they're pulling your stomach down and doing all of these things and giving you stitches and so on. And so with AirSculpt, they don't cut your skin off. So you have your skin, they don't cut your skin off. They're doing small incisions with a, I wish I could remember what the tool is called. It's like a long tool that's really tiny, and that's where they suck the fat out of. And they do really small incisions. I do recall one of the questions in my Ask Box asking if I'm gonna be showing the incision scars. I will as they heal. They're not fully healed yet, but I'll show the ones on my arms. I probably won't show the ones on my stomach because they're low under my stomach area, like right above my dodo. And I don't think that's appropriate for the tube. So I probably won't be showing those, but I will show you the ones on my arms and I'll show you how they heal. One thing I will say is if you're a brown girl, scars will definitely heal a lot differently. And I do see that I have a little bit of darkness where they went in and where the scar is. Now the incision is so tiny, it is true. The incision is tiny, however, where it heals, if you're a brown girl, it may turn like a darker color or be a little discolored, like if you were to get burnt. If you guys know, if you catch my drift, I can't explain it, but I'll show it on another video on this series. But the incisions are small. And it wasn't as painful, I can only assume, as a tummy tuck, because they didn't have to cut my skin off, they didn't have to do stitches, no stitches were involved. The incisions heal on their own. Okay, next question is, would you do any other body parts such as your thighs? So I actually have gotten a substantial amount of messages, even some comments asking me why I didn't do my thighs, and I don't know, I guess it's a fair question. I guess I don't really think, I don't know, I'm gonna hold my opinion on it. I love my thighs, I love my legs, and I just didn't want to get them done. I did mention, I think in my first video, that my abdomen was a second thought. Like, I didn't go into this wanting to get my abdomen done. I just figured, since I was going to be going through with the procedure on my arms, that I wanted to just kill two birds with one stone, and I, like, as an afterthought was like, fuck it, let's do my abdomen. So that's where that came in, and nowhere in this whole situation of me wanting to do this procedure did I ever think about my thighs. I love my thighs, I embrace them. They were actually something that I got bullied about throughout my whole childhood, even in high school, and I have come to love them so much, and I just feel like thick thighs saves lives. You know what I'm saying? So no, I will not be getting ear sculpt done on my thighs or at all ever again. I have gotten my taste of it and I don't want to do it again. So there is that. I hope that answers your question. The next question I got, was it actually worth it? Do you feel like it's going to be significant enough to do it again? So I will say it was worth it. However, I would never do this again. The recovery has not been as seamless as they make it seem online, and I just don't have that type of time to be able to recover. Does that make sense? Like, this has put back so many things that I need to be doing because I have to recover. I also have to wear this faja 24/7, and it limits what I can do and also what I can wear, and I just don't like that. I don't like being limited. I would not do this again. However, it was worth it. It was worth the money. I do see a significant difference in my arms. If you didn't know, I did get questions like, you know, why did you even do this? Someone had even commented on my last YouTube video, like, really nasty, and I don't think that they followed me, because if they did, then they would know that I have made efforts to change my lifestyle, and I have been successful at it, and that is the reason I went to get AirSculpt. So if you didn't know, I started my gym journey and being more conscious of what I was putting into my body. I started that whole journey last summer. So I actually, even before then, last March, I started. It's been a whole year, an entire year. It's gonna be in a month. And with that journey, I actually lost a lot of weight. And with losing weight, so my weight goes to my arms, it goes to my thunder thighs, and it just as of maybe a couple years ago, it started to go to my stomach. Now, with losing a lot of weight, my arms started to sag, and I was doing what I needed to do in the gym. I was doing all the different workouts you can do, you know what I'm saying? All of that, and it wasn't targeting here, which it is so hard. I don't even, maybe it's possible, but it just wasn't working for me. It was not working for under my arms. My skin was sagging, and so I was just getting a little bit nervous about that. I'm only 26, and with losing all of that weight from the gym and also just from being more cautious about what I was eating and just eating better things and fueling my body with healthier things, came weight loss. And so I didn't want my skin to continue to sag, and so that's what prompted me to look into AirSculpt, and that's ultimately why I did it. And when I did AirSculpt in my arms, they put something in there called J Plasma, which sucks, I don't know what it does actually, but it makes your skin that was sagging kind of not anymore. It's like a laser, I think. I don't know much about it, but I did J Plasma as well in my arms, and that actually helped with the skin sagging issue that I was having. So I really just wanted to do that now rather than waiting and continuously losing weight to then have to look into getting an arm lift instead. And with an arm lift, they leave a huge scar on your arm, and I just didn't want to do that. So I wanted to get AirSculpt, and it actually did work on my arms, and I love them. For my stomach, since my stomach was such an afterthought, I was very shocked at the results, and they have gotten better, because when you come out of surgery, you're so swollen. It is like an emotional roller coaster, which I had mentioned in the first video. When I saw my stomach, it was super swollen, but you can see my stretch marks more prominently. And not that that is an issue, because you know, it is what it is. I had stretch marks, but prior to having the AirSculpt done in my stomach, since my stomach was like, it had the fat, so it filled the skin area, you couldn't really notice my stretch marks. And so when they did the AirSculpt in my stomach, it kind of, obviously they took the fat out that was in my abdomen area, and my skin receded. And so my stretch marks are a lot more prominent, and I didn't know that that was gonna happen. I do wish that the doctor educated me a little bit more. And I did speak to Zenny, who does my lymphatic massages, and she said, you know, I don't know why the doctor wouldn't have told you that maybe a tummy tuck would have been a better option for you. And had he had said that, I wouldn't have done anything. I wouldn't have done a tummy tuck, and I wouldn't have done the AirSculpt, because I just didn't want to do that. I'm terrified. And there's no shame in anyone who has had it done. Hats off, much respect. This whole journey of procedures, people think it's like an easy way out. Fuck that noise. This stuff is so hard. The process of maintaining, but also just sustaining it even after the fact, the amount of money that goes into this that I had no idea about, insane, which we will talk about more. I think there might be a question in here that asks about that, but the aftercare for procedures, the fact that the procedure is expensive, but the aftercare is insane. I have been getting lymphatic massages every single week. I get 3 a week. In the beginning of my first week of recovery, I got one every single day, and everything has kind of gone down, so I could see my results a little bit better. I still have a lot more to go. I still am a little bit swollen in my stomach. There is some fluid still in my stomach that we can see when Zenny's doing the massages, so that takes time for it to subside. And something that I wasn't told is your fluid hardens. So if you're not getting these post-op massages, your fluids will harden, and you're like literally the areas that you got AirSculpted, or let's say this is same goes for lipo, so same thing with lipo, your fluid will harden. And that's why you can kind of, I know this is a thing, but like lipo stomach, you can tell if a woman's had lipo, because some women don't get the lymphatic massages and their stomachs look hard because their fluids hardened, or they get fibrosis, which is that's a whole other thing. Maybe Brie, if you could, fibrosis, it's just the whole thing, and a lot of it just wasn't spoken about. And so I'm just glad that I'm able to be a resource for you guys. So was it worth it? Yes. Would I do it again? No. Okay, next question. I'm going in 2 weeks and take pain well, but is it worth it, the results? Yes, the results are worth it. Would you do it again, not knowing the pain experience? Would you recommend? Had I known how painful this was and how much the recovery process takes out of you, and how much, just so much extra stuff, right? The fajas, you gotta switch your fajas, you gotta get your fajas taken in, you have to order different types of fajas. Like, had I known all of that, I would have never done this. So it was a learning experience. However, I don't regret it. Does that make sense? Like, I don't regret it. It was totally worth it. But had I known prior to going in that all of this was like a thing, I probably would have had second thoughts. How much was it? So the procedure was $13,000 for my arms and abdomen. I believe my arms were $7K and my abdomen was $6K. Right, yeah, $6K. So my arms were more expensive because I got the J plasma, and I think they charged $1,000 or $2,000 extra for J plasma, which again is that laser that they do after the fact to tighten the skin so that it's not sagging. How long did it take for your incisions to stop leaking? Girl, My incisions, especially the incisions on my arm, because he did an incision right on my elbow, that shit didn't stop leaking till like 2 weeks post-op. And now, so you have to be really careful with your incisions, with removing your foams and everything, because now with my abdomen, my incisions closed really quickly on my abdomen, but recently I was removing one of my foams and it tugged at the scab, and one of my incisions in the middle of my stomach, or like underneath, opened. So now that one's leaking. So I am currently 3 weeks post-op and I'm still dealing with a little bit of leaking from my incisions, but for the most part they're all closed. It's just that one incision in the middle of my stomach that is leaking because the scab pulled when I was pulling off one of my foams. So you have to be really careful when you're moving your foams and doing your faja and stuff, because you can disturb your incisions and reopen them. How was it being awake during the procedure? I really want to do it, but that part freaked me out. So if I were to do it all again, I would opt for not being awake because it was just a lot. I heard everything they talked about, which some of the stuff they talked about was super funny. So like I remember laughing like when they were like spilling all this tea because it was funny, but I also remember if I wasn't heavy on the laughing gas, like if I wasn't sucking in the laughing gas heavy, like if I took a break from it, I remember feeling when he would, what is the thing called? There's a specific name for it. I don't know what it's called, but I remember feeling when he was in my abdomen moving the thing, hitting like my rib area or just pressure, and it was super uncomfortable. I didn't like it. It actually did hurt. And I remember him telling me like, have more laughing gas. And as soon as I took more laughing gas, I kind of like passed out. But I did feel pressure. I did feel the vibrations of everything. I heard everything that was said. I had to wake up. If I was passed out, they had to wake me up to then move me to the other side to do this arm, the other arm, you know, all of that. So I would say if I had to do it again, I probably would have gone under. But then again, when you go under, I just feel like maybe they wouldn't be, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like, you know, they would probably go to town and like really. So the fact that I was up, I think that I was able to show if something hurt, he was able to kind of fix what he was doing. So I mean, it's like a double-edged sword. All right, next question. Would you recommend getting both areas done at once? So yes, because if I did one area, like if I did my arms and then came out, I would have never thought to do this ever again. So like if you're gonna do it, you just do it and get it done, get it over with. So yes, I recommend doing 2 areas at once. What exactly did I have done to my arm area? So they did Airsculpt, which is essentially lipo, 360 on my arm. So all over, from the bottom, the sides, the top, and the same goes for the other arm. So that's what I had done to my arms. And they did J-plasma so that my skin that was sagging can kind of not sag anymore and get back to where it once was. All right, next question. What is the recovery time, and did you need to get painful massages to drain out? So I am currently 3 weeks post-op, and they mentioned that recovery takes about 3 weeks, and they also mentioned that you can go to work the next day if you really wanted to, and that is not the case at all. And I would say if you're gonna get this done, you should take at least a week off from work to at least drain out and feel a little bit better. But with me being 3 weeks post-op, my stomach still has a little bit of fluids inside. It's not completely flat yet. I have to compress for 24 hours a day. I have to put foams in my faja. I have to wear my arm fajas. Some of the fluid in my arm started to harden, so now the massages are a lot more painful because Zenny has to literally break the scar tissue so that those fluids can then go to your lymphs and you can pee them out so that your arms don't look lumpy. So I get the massages 3 times a week. I got a package of them, and it's very expensive. So aside from what you're spending on your procedure, you have to spend upwards to like $2,000 on lymphatic massages just to help you as you're recovering. So full recovery to see like your somewhat final results takes about 3 months of the swelling to go down and a lot of the fluids to be drained. all right, this is a good one. Did your man have any issues with you doing it? Having a hard time convincing my significant other to be okay with it. So I will admit, I didn't tell Julian I was doing this until the day before because I knew that if I told him earlier, he would have tried to convince me not to. Julian very much loves me the way I am, sis. He loves all of me, every inch. And so he thought, he was like, you don't need it. And quite frankly, nobody needs it unless like, it's just like, it's more, obviously it's a luxury, and that's why most, if not all, insurances don't cover it unless you're getting like a skin removal because you've lost like a significant amount of weight and it's becoming like a health issue for you. But it's very much like, it's not something that's truly necessary. It's really a luxury if you want to do it. And so he would have talked me out of it. So I waited till the day before. And when I told him, he was like, you're we have like our own little like language, and he was like, you're not a truther, like, you know, why are you doing this? And I explained to him, and I remember the one thing he said, because I explained it to him, I broke it down to him and I explained why I wanted to do it. And he was like, whatever you do, I will support you if that's what makes you happy. And I was like, so cute. So yeah, I didn't tell him till the day before. Okay, next question. Were there payment plans available? Yes. So if you want to, you can do a care credit. You would have to be approved for it, but yes, there is payment plans available and they do it through care credit. So yeah, I think that answers that question pretty briefly. How was your mom about you doing it too? My mom is super supportive in anything I do, and at first she was like, really? Like, you're really gonna do that? Are you sure? And then she was like looking into it, like just so that she's educated on like the process and stuff. And she came to New York after I called her the first day post-op. I was like, look, I need you here, I need you to help me. And she got in the car, came to New York, helped me, and she's super supportive even now throughout the process of me healing. She's a champ. We love Dito. Next question. Do you need to be under a certain BMI to be a candidate? BMI was actually never discussed at my appointment. At my I think I had 2 appointments. No, 1 appointment. And then the other one I came in early before my operation. But that was actually never discussed. They did take my weight, but BMI was never discussed. So that might be a red flag. I'm pretty sure there must be, but it was never brought up at my appointment. But they did weigh me. They did do all like the paperwork on like what's my history of family history and all of that stuff. They did do all that, but that was never done. I did take a COVID test too as well before the procedure, but we never discussed BMI. That never came up. All right, another question is, what's the difference between AirSculpt and liposuction? So AirSculpt is patented. It's like a new technology, and that's the word. It's called Zenny says it with an accent, so like the way I'm hearing it is with Zenny's accent, but it's a candula. So the little stick that they put inside you to suck the fat out. It's a new technology and it's a lot slimmer than the one that they use with lipo. With lipo, I believe the incisions are a little bit bigger, but from when I said that on Instagram, somebody messaged me, they're like, but no, like you can ask for them to do smaller incisions. I don't know. I just saw the AirSculpt thing, you know, it said new technology, and I looked into it and it seemed promising, and I do have great results from it. But from what I know, the only major difference is that it's just a different technology. The candula is smaller and they use J-Sculpt, but I think you can also use J-Sculpt with lipo. So it's a matter of preference at this point. I feel like we're coming down to the consensus that it's a matter of preference, and I believe liposuction is cheaper than AirSculpt. So do with that information what you will. And the last question that I'm going to answer you guys is, does this also help with loose skin? Now, I will say to an extent. So I did have loose skin on my arms, and it helped when I did the J-Sculpt to an extent. Actually, it helped entirely. And I say to an extent because now I'm thinking about my stomach. So J-Sculpt on my arms, it helped. My skin snapped back up. but that's an add-on. So like, you're getting AirSculpt, but if you want J-Sculpt, you would have to pay more for it, and I believe it's anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 extra on top of your cost, and that's per section. So like for my arms, I think it was $2,000 extra for my arms, and if I were to get it on my stomach, I'm assuming that it would have been another $2,000. It wasn't recommended for my stomach by the doctor. And after speaking with Zenny, and I told you guys, Zenny educated me way more than my doctor did. Zenny said that it should have been recommended to me for my stomach because my stomach, a lot of people thought that, I don't know, I guess in pictures it looks flat, I guess. A lot of people were like, why did you do it in your stomach? You didn't need it in your stomach. I did have like a lower belly pouch and bulge, I would say. It wasn't a fupa per se, but it was like a pouch. And so when I did the AirSculpt, my stomach is on flat, but there is like, if you pull on my stomach a little bit, I do have some extra skin, and the only way to remove that in that case would be a tummy tuck, and I am not gonna do that because I just couldn't even imagine if I thought this was painful and I was like a huge baby about this. Zenny explains to me her post-op treatment for women who get tummy tucks, and like, she scared the shit out of me. So I just don't think that's in the cards for me. I'm just gonna live with it. And then once I'm fully recovered, hopefully I can show you guys the before and after. I do have before photos that I'm gonna have to ask the doctor to send me. And I do have to go in 3 months post-op where they're gonna be taking my after photos. So hopefully I can get access to those and then do another video to the series. That will probably be my final video, right, and show the before and afters. But I do have a little bit of loose skin now on my stomach. I wish the doctor would have educated me and offered the information that I probably should get J plasma in my stomach to tighten it, but he didn't. And he didn't even mention it for my stomach. So I don't know. If I did, I probably wouldn't have the little bit of loose skin that I do have, but it is what it is. I'm gonna live with it. You live and you learn, and let me be your testing, I don't know. Let my experience help you in making your decision, and also help you in asking the right questions when you go to your appointment if you guys decide to get something like this. I'm assuming if you're watching this video, then you're interested in AirSculpt, so just make sure that you're learning from me and learning from the questions I did or didn't ask, and also what my lymphatic drainage specialist has taught me, because she's taught me way more. So keep in mind that you will need to be in a faja for 3 to 6 months. You need to compress. If you're not compressing after your surgery, your fluids will then harden and you may not like your results. It may be money down the drain. You will have to invest in lymphatic drainage massages, which will range between $1,500 and $2,000 aside from your procedure. So all in, including the fajas that I've bought, which fajas are expensive. They're about $100 per faja, which you need more than one because you need to make sure you have one to change into. And then I had to pay a tailor to tailor my faja to be a specific way to then hold my stomach up and press it in so that the fluids are being compressed. All in, I would say I spent between $16,000 to $17,000. 13 was the procedure. The other stuff was just post-op and aftercare, which is very expensive, and that just wasn't spoken to me about. Some doctors say that lymphatic drainage massages are not mandatory, you don't have to do them, and I think that, I don't know, I just feel like they should tell you you need them, because if you don't get them, you're not draining your incisions, you're not going to a specialist who knows what they're doing. And make sure whoever you go to, if you decide to do this, is licensed for post-op lymphatic drainage, not just lymphatic massages. You need somebody who is licensed in post-op care. Nobody should be using wooden tools on you as you're recovering from your surgery. They should not be using wooden tools and doing that all over your stomach and your arms and your legs, whatever you do, whatever you decide to do. Post-op, no wooden tools should be used. That is a huge red flag. You need to ask for certificates and license, okay? This stuff is like real. You shouldn't just put your body in somebody's hands who isn't a professional, who isn't licensed, because they can do more damage and harm than good. They can literally counteract what your surgery has done. So like, they can really mess you up and give you fibrosis. You don't want it. So that is what I have for you guys. Thank you all for asking me your questions. Thank you all for giving me grace and just being with me along on this journey. And if you know, you know, and if you don't, you don't. It's been a long journey for me. I have committed to a healthier lifestyle, and with that came a lot of changes to my body. And so I did this for me because I wanted to, and I am a huge believer in doing whatever it is you want to do that makes you happy. So I'm so grateful that I can be a resource to you guys, and I love you all. Be kind, because it takes a lot for somebody to come on the internet and truly be authentic and share their journey. A lot of women get surgeries and nobody would ever know. I have spoken to so many people after the fact who opened up to me about getting surgery, and I would have never known. So be kind. Because it takes a lot for somebody to like come on social media and like say this. And also, don't discredit somebody for getting surgery. I had a few comments like where somebody was like, you know, body goals, whatever, whatever, and somebody commented like, she's had surgery, like it's not natural. And that's super whack. Like, please don't discredit someone because they've had surgery. This shit is not for the weak. And also, I have worked hard pre-surgery to get to where I wanted to be, and I just feel like all my work shouldn't go in vain just because I decided to do something for myself to, you know, make myself happy throughout my journey. I've always loved my body where I was, where I am, and where I'm going. I'm always gonna love my body, but I just felt the need to mention, be kind. Takes a lot to come on social media and be transparent and tell the truth. A lot of your favorite influencers have surgery and they won't ever tell you because of how people respond to it. So love you all. Thank you for watching my video, and stay tuned for more. I will be back with another one very soon.